Welcome to the Totally Honest Cooking Show. I'm Mark. Today we're making a puff pastry apple galette. Let's go! So we're going to start by lightly flouring a work surface. I've never been good at lightly flouring a work surface, so I'm using a sifter. And then I'm going to spread it around a little bit. The idea behind this is to have just enough flour to stick to whatever you're doing without like clumping up and making a big pile like that right there. And when I don't use a sifter, I wind up being ridiculous and I have a heap of flour. It's bad. It's bad! The recipe is in the description below, and the author appears to have used some frou-frou la-la puff pastry that I couldn't find. I got your regular degular puff pastry. The challenge to that is going to be that it's not nearly as weighty as the one that the author of the recipe used, which may cause a problem because we want to roll this out to a 10 to 12 inch circle. We've got this extra flour here so that I can assist myself as I roll. And as I do it, I'm going to flip it and I'm going to try to make it the amount that they want me to make it, while wondering whether I should have just doubled up the amount of puff pastry. This seems to be about as good as I can get it without tearing or ripping. What happens if I cut the ends off, flip them inward, and use that to kind of double it up? Let's find out together, shall we? Aha. Make sure you don't forget to flour your rolling pin and also reflour it as necessary. This does appear to be helping to get more length, but we're not necessarily actually joining the puff pastry together, which is going to be disconcerting. This is the part where people who know what they're doing are laughing at me. They're all going to laugh at you, Mark. Fun fact about me, I'm not a very visual person, but I do know that my cast iron skillet is 12 inches. This is the lid that I use. Bop. And now I've got a line to cut around. Yay! Okay. 12-inch circle. I done it. Look at me, I'm dancing. Now we've moved it to my biggest cutting board with some parchment paper on it. We're going to stick it in the fridge while we work on the rest. Now we got to clean up all this flour. We have our friend the bench scraper. If you don't have a bench scraper, use a credit card. In fact, I prefer a credit card to a bench scraper, but I'm filming a show and I'm not giving you people my credit card number. The other helpful tip that comes out of having the smallest kitchen in the world is that my primary work surface also has a dishwasher under it, which means that I can just line my bowl up with the flour and scrape it directly into it because there's extra space to move the bowl into. Before you stick this in the fridge, you want to poke it all over with a fork. This will help it stay flat during the baking process. Hopefully, I didn't poke it so deeply that the filling all leaks out, because that would be really embarrassing and bad for the show. Now we're on to our apples, which we need to peel and core. I'm going to peel them using a potato peeler. The recipe calls for 4 Granny Smith apples. I go apple picking once a year, so I'm using apples from that and not Granny Smith. Most apples will bake up. Some are just better than others for baking, and most of the apples that I picked are baking apples. I am not good at identifying apples once I have picked them, so this is just kind of a mixture. And if you're a total amateur cook that's only learning how to cook from cooking videos, just remember you can absolutely do this over a garbage can. Next up, you're cutting the apple into quadrants around the core. See? Now you get rid of the core. And I do these as quickly as I can so that the apples don't oxidize. Now we're going for thin slices, about 1/8 of an inch. I don't know I'm not really good at that sort of thing either, so I'm just going to slice them up and see what happens. Regardless, you want to try to keep them uniform though. They tell you to try to keep the lobes together and in their original shape, like this, so that you can just fan them out once you put them on the puff pastry. However, I do not have a work surface big enough for that, so I am just throwing them in a bowl and I will deal with it as it comes. This recipe calls for the use of apricot jam. They did not have apricot jam at the store, so I got apricot preserves, and this will be lovely. While we have it out, we're also getting a fourth a cup of the jam for the glaze for later. Now the instructions are to brush the Galette with 1/3 a cup of apricot jam, leaving a border of about 1.5 inches. So that's about there, I think. And I'm going to call this close enough for government. Like I said, they want you to fan these out, leaving them kind of tight, which means that these probably should be slightly thinner than they are. But that's okay. I will survive. I will survive. Hey, 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 hey. I do worry a little bit about the fact that I mixed and matched the apples, but I think that I will be okay. I have a lot more leftover apples than intended, and that's fine. Next, we're making a quick egg wash with 1 egg and a teaspoon of water. Brush around the inside. Round the inside, round the inside. Then we're going to fold this over our apples to the extent that we are able. Trying very hard not to totally destroy the puff pastry. Fold in when you have to fold because it'll make it less ugly. And before long, you should be greeted with this beautiful adjacent looking thing. Now we're brushing the exposed edge with the egg wash. We did round the inside, now we're going round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. Now we're sticking this in the refrigerator for 45 minutes. Once it's done resting in the fridge, we're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter and melt them in the microwave. Now we're going to brush the apples with the butter. But you're brushing the apples and not the puff pastry. Hopefully you didn't get rid of the egg wash because they want us to wash the outside one more time. I did get rid of the egg wash, so I made some more. This is 2 tablespoons of sugar. You're sprinkling 1 teaspoon over the puff pastry and the rest over the apples. So I'm just going to do it like this. And that just feels like the way for me to do it, because I will make a mess of things otherwise. From here, the instructions say to bake it for 35 minutes. I sprayed this, and hopefully I didn't just wipe all the oil off when I put it on there. Okay, 35 minutes. It's been about half an hour. It was browning a little faster than I thought it should, so about halfway through I dropped the temperature to 350, and then we pulled it 5 minutes early. Let's see if we can get it off the foil. It's looking like I made a whoopsie doodle there. We'll see. There we go. Pretty simple. And I'm putting it on a wire rack. 1/4 a cup of apricot preserves. It's supposed to be jam, but I got preserves. And we're pouring 1 tablespoon of water over it. And now I'm going to stick it in the microwave till it looks hot. You will see it bubbling very quickly. Now, because we use preserves, I'm going to strain out the solids, and we might end up needing some more. Yeah, I can still get some more gel out of that. Let me put this back in the microwave and see what I can do. I did it about 30 seconds twice. And now we're brushing this over the apples. Now we're going to let this cool the rest of the way. Half an hour more of waiting, and I'm ready to try a slice. I'm just having a little one right now. I want to have more later. But let's give it a try. People complain when I don't try. I didn't think you'd be able to taste the apricot, but you can taste the apricot. The puff pastry is quite good as well. I would definitely say that if you can find a bigger puff pastry than the standard Pepperidge Farm style one, do it. Okay, like, subscribe, ding the little bell, leave a comment down below and let me know what I should do next. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.